Yeah, and if you're going to get it cheaper and sell it higher, it increases. And these guys really, frankly, could care less about us, the average worker, or even the United States of America. They're self-interested in the extreme.
Exactly.
Well, there's also the issue that we're losing our refineries one by one. Just alone from 2000 to 2001, we were having a major refinery shutdown due to explosions or other types of accidents, practically one a month. So if you lose your refineries, you lose your ability to process the vast amounts of oil that you need.
Now, didn't Henry Kissinger once say that oil is much too important to be left to the Arabs, right?
Yes, that's right.
Leaving one to wonder, how did oil get under their soil?
That's right.
Now, as a military officer, can you speak to our viewing audience about the change in the protocol for scrambling military jets in the event that commercial jets had flown off course?
Well, it had been the standard protocol that regional commanders could authorize shooting down a commercial plane, but it was changed about 5 months before to the Secretary of Defense having the sole authority to authorize such a shoot down. And it just so happened that the Secretary of Defense was completely unavailable during the period that these events were taking place. Rather astonishing. Not to mention, but that these terrorists picked a day on which there were as many as 15 of these experiments, these drills involving interdiction between normal FAA and NORAD activity, right, so that the air traffic controllers would see a blip and not know if it was real or Memorex.
Now, what percentage of the American public do you think knows about these war games that were being conducted simultaneous to the 9/11 attacks? The focus of the war games, and I believe some of the names, Operation Vigilant Guardian.
That's right.
Northern Vigilance.
Yes.
Right. Just to name a couple. But what percentage of the public do you think knows that there were simultaneous war games going on involving the CIA and every branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, and the focus of the activities, the focus of the exercise, was to defend against a plane-into-building scenario at 8:30 at the World Trade Center complex? And we saw a similar exercise being carried out on the morning of the London bombings. The morning of the London bombings, an exercise being carried out involving over 1,000 people in the same stations as the stations that were bombed in the July 7th, 2005 London bombing. And who's on the block, the same block as one of the stations that got blown up?
And who was that?
Adolf Giuliani, a.k.a. Rudolph Giuliani, right? He's Johnny on the spot, and he gives an interview, right, that morning. Right, a major profiteer in the fraudulent war on terror, and a major, well, I guess I've said enough about that.
You're right on all accounts, Joseph, that these terror drills appear to be being used as covers for the actual operation.
And then, as a military officer also, your insight into the Able Danger Unit.
The Able Danger, why is this slipping my mind?
If I refresh your memory, that the Able Danger unit.
Have you read his books?
I have
Refresh
not.
his mind.
When I
Joseph, there's one coming up on the 23rd to the 27th. I think it's Noble Revenge or something, Noble something or other.
The names of these things.
Remind me about Able Danger. Yeah.
Able Danger was a unit of the CIA that claims there was an officer who had exposed the fact that that Mohammed Atta, that this Able Danger unit, a special unit of the CIA, was tracking the movements and compiling documents about the activities of Mohammed Atta and 3 of the other alleged 9/11 hijackers for 1 year prior to 9/11.
That's absolutely
Very
right.
Interesting.
In fact, during the trial to determine the punishment of Zacharias Moussaoui, who was alleged to be the 20th hijacker, an FBI agent testified that he had been following Moussaoui. He had observed his flight training and suspected he might be involved in a terrorist act such as hitting the Twin Towers, although he would later say that was merely a lucky guess. But he testified in court, and this had to be enormously embarrassing to the federal prosecutors, that he had told his superiors not once, not twice, but 70 times about the threat he suspected from Zacharias Moussaoui. Now, I say 5 or 6 times might be simple incompetence, 20, 24 criminal neglect, but by the time you get to 70 times, that has to be a matter of deliberate policy where they're keeping these guys under wraps in order to use them as camouflage when the government itself perpetrates these atrocious terrorist acts.
And more evidence in support of your hypothesis is the fact that the FBI field agents, when they went to their supervisors, the supervisors suppressed the investigation into Moussaoui. Colleen Rowley, in particular, wanted to investigate Moussaoui, and there was a FISA request.
Yes.
FISA, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Now, out of 10,000 requests that were submitted by FBI field agents, the only one that was denied was Colleen Rowley's request to probe into the Zacarias Moussaoui and to access his computer and his dwelling.
That's right.
Huh?
That's absolutely
But you
right.
know what? We saw this in 1937 with General Smedley Butler, in which,
We have a caller.
oh, I'll just explain really quick that the House of Morgan and Ford would end up paying the leftist socialist parties to actually do uprising in the United States so that they could stage a coup. So, you know, we're obviously we have a government financing of the very person we're looking
And
for.
the name of that book?
No, this is actual, there's no book, this is history.
Well,
Oh,
Smedley
there's a
Smedley
book.
wrote a little book called
Oh.
War is a Racket,
War is
in
a
which he complained about the repeated use of the American military to benefit the interests of American corporations. He was sick of it.
And he was a Marine Corps
He was a Marine
commandant.
Corps. He was a two-star, yeah, he was a Major General.
Let's get our caller now.
Hello?
Yes, hi, how are you?
I have a comment and then a question. My comment is, are you as and it goes to either one of you, are you as embarrassed as I am that no matter what we do for the next almost 2 years, we're going to lose somewhere between 3 to maybe 700 soldiers, and there's absolutely...
Well, you know, let me speak first on this. I'm not at all embarrassed. I am furious.
Right?
There are children out there dying for a war that is not a war. I mean, the whole thing is fake. And what I can't understand is people like my age, or actually the age of my whole panel here, why people don't remember Vietnam. This
amazing.
is history repeating itself. And Vietnam was for it was a political war for a political reason, and people died. And the ones that, I feel worse for the ones that don't die and they come back without their limbs.
Started by
These
a
are-
similar deception, the
But
Gulf of
I hope
Tonkin.
I've answered your question. And I'm sure all of us with passion here feel the same way. We're not embarrassed. We're furious. And that's why we take our own time, our own money, to do these programs, to expose this, to try to get everybody to understand this is wrong.